Hey, how's everybody doing today?
Hi, Aaron.
Hello.
Good. Good day.
And we welcome the Breath Master. I don't know your first name.
I might have it muted.
Maybe he
Yeah.
doesn't have his audio on yet. Yep.
That's what I had to buy.
That's your green screen?
Yes. I had to give in.
Is that special material or is that like a sheet?
You can use anything, really, but I ordered it from Amazon. I mean, I could have gotten a plastic green tablecloth. That's what I'll be doing this weekend.
Anybody hear me?
Yeah, going through it, and
We can hear you fine.
Yeah, I have to do some of the video over.
Good now. That should be good now. Anybody in there?
Yeah, we're here.
Yeah.
We're here. You can't see us?
Well,
I have all the buttons pressed yet.
good. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah,
I can hear you.
Yes.
Yeah. Sorry, I was a little bit late. Technology. Oh, the Breath Master is here.
Oh, yeah.
Right. Awesome. Did you all get to meet each other already?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Came on.
All right. So once we start recording for the video, I'll do a little quick introduction of the Breath Master, and I'll also introduce him to our organization, to CCH 360, so he can understand what we do.
Okay. And then I'll pin him so just his screen comes up.
Right. And then after introducing CCH 360, what we could do from there is he could just segue into talking about what he does as a Breath Master. That's why we're all here. So that should be good. How's that sound to you, bro?
That sounds good.
That sounds good?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Is my lighting okay? Because I got a thing I could go and get to put some light on my face if necessary.
If you could get another one to be good.
All right, give me a moment.
Let me see if I can fix my camera a little bit. All right, so Pam, you got to be out of here by 6.
Yeah, I do.
I don't expect that it'll take us that long to do what we have to do. And we'll just, if you have any questions that come about, just keep them in mind and let's ask them some questions, kind of like keep the conversation pushing along, just like we always do.
Mm-hmm.
Can you all hear background noise from my mic?
No.
No.
Okay.
That's clean.
Okay, my neighbor has some work being done. They would start the saws and everything right now.
Well, when he starts to speak, just mute
Mute it.
yourself.
Okay.
Apologies, I should have thought of this before.
All right, no problem. I was doing my best to make sure mine was illuminated a little better. Last time I noticed it was a little darker than I like it to be, but
No, you look good.
it's fine right now,
Mm-hmm.
huh? Okay. I like how you use the thing to man out the back area like that. That's a good idea.
You don't want to see my junky basement on this video.
How's that?
That's better.
That's better.
So I have my camera over here and I keep looking at you all. I gotta stop doing this. So I'll look at the camera.
Okay, we ready?
Are we ready?
Yep.
Yeah, hold on 1 second. Let me see if the background noise is bothering me, but I guess I can't control outside. All right, let's go ahead and rock it.
I can't hear anything.
Okay, cool. It's kind of disturbing me, but that's okay.
Yeah.
We can go ahead and roll.
All right.
You ready?
Yep, we're ready. It's recording.
All right. Hey, so welcome back, family. Good to see everybody today. Welcome back to Tai Chi. I said Tai Chi. Here we go. Welcome back, family. Welcome back to CCH 360. We're very happy to see everyone here. And today we have a very special guest here. We have the Breath Master. This gentleman is from a very small town, about an hour and a half away from me. And I was so fortunate to find him through Marcus Brimage, the yoga ninja. One day they were talking on the phone and I was overhearing the conversation. And I was like, you know what? I got to meet this gentleman. So he happened to come down south for a while. He's originally from the area, so he returned home, but he resides up in Maryland. So I got to meet him and we had such a phenomenal time together. He was nice enough to take me through a Breath Master lesson, introductory lesson. We went walking through a wonderful park, visited a little small island, a hidden jewel that he didn't even know was there. And his wonderful wife was happy enough to meet us, and more welcoming enough to actually prepare us one of the most wonderful, wonderful meals that I've had in such a long time. So here we have today Mr. Aaron, the Breath Master himself. I'd like to welcome him to Tai Chi 360, which is our online community, a resource center that we built, and we specialize in holistic health and wellness. And I said, why not have this coach come on and share with our community what he has shared with so many people in his. So if you would, brother, go ahead and pick up and introduce yourself and let everyone know what you have to offer the community.
First off, let me say thank you for this opportunity to share, and you all opening your space up for, a few little modest things that I have to offer. I am self-titled the Breath Master because I got on this path toward basically mastering the process of life. And at this iteration, it kind of started basically with my mom, losing my mom to cancer, God rest her soul, back in 1989. And I asked Creator, the universe, however you want to term it, for a way of avoiding that and other maladies for myself and whatever I needed in order to be able to help my loved ones and whoever else would listen to do the same. And the first thing that was given to me was that cancer cannot survive in an oxygen-rich environment. And being the very simple-minded guy that I am, I just deduced that I needed to breathe deeper and fuller and get more oxygen in my body so as to not have that issue. Lo and behold, I found out that oxygen is the catalyst for everything in life. It's the thing that gives us life. It's the catalyst at the moment that we come out of the womb for giving us the life force in this vehicle that carries our spirit throughout this thing called life. So from that, I went on a journey. I studied a bit of breath work with a woman who, her husband, she had a yoga background. Her husband was a Taoist, traditional Chinese medicine practitioner, and he had taught her the 6 healing sounds. So she shared that with me, and further on down, the journey, I began to really get into the breath when I got introduced to comedic yoga, and the fact that that form of yoga is even more intrinsically ties the movement more intrinsically to the breath, even more so than I would say, well, probably close in alignment with Kundalini as far as movement with the breath. Unlike so many other forms where people just move and they breathe, and even though that's the principle, a lot of people don't adhere to it as readily. So from that, I started keying in on the breath, and I wound up developing my own little movement because being very practical, I realized that all movement, we're breathing all day long, and you can, link breath to every movement. And I went on that journey being, some would say kind of OCD, but, really just paying close attention to detail. And then I figured out after listening to Bruce Lee's story that the journey is not about mastering any particular thing other than the process of life. And that as we move from this form to that form, this modality to that modality, the primary thing that's key and that's linked through all of them and that we're doing all the time, as long as we're alive, is breathing. So I modeled my movements after the natural flow and movement that we have throughout the course of the day. And basically I mastered the breath. And the principle that I discovered was that when you look at the masters, as Bruce did, you learn that all of them started with a basic principle. And that foundational principle was what they built on. And I discerned that what I call the mastery principle is that principle. Study the basics of a thing and you learn to master that thing. And with breath being the primary igniter and sustainer of life, I studied the breath and got to the point where I feel I've mastered the breath. So that's what I teach.
So can I ask a question? I wanted to piggyback and ask. So your particular breathing style, you said it's based off of the yogic system, correct?
Yogic and also Taoist.
Yogic and Taoist, okay.
Yeah. And my introduction was from the Taoist, first with the 6 healing sounds, and then with the comedic yoga. And it just expanded from that with my paying attention to breath and movement as I developed, or should I say, immersed myself into the process and discerned, the links that came to me during the process.
So would it be fair enough to say that it's a type of Qigong system?
I I was very keen on not trying to label it because I didn't want to say that it was something and then not have been grounded in that thing and have someone who is an expert or a practitioner of that thing come along and look at me and say, you know what, you're adulterating what we're doing and you're just not right. I didn't want to do that. But invariably, as I was explaining myself to a guy who practiced Qigong some years ago, I was like, I don't do Qigong, I do this. I said, it has the same principles, yoga, as Tai Chi, Qigong, and yoga, as far as the breath and movement and, the whole movement meditation thing, but it's not Qigong. And he said, you're practicing Qigong. I said, okay.
Right. I just asked that because basically we call Qigong just breath work, working the breath, so.
Yes.
And one last question, I'll let somebody else ask. So who is this practice for, or who is it not for?
It's for every body. In other words, the breath is something that is intrinsic for every living body. So every living body really would be enhanced as far as the life experience through mastering the breath. So it's for every body.
Thank you very much.
Well, I have a question. What would you say is the biggest benefit of learning your technique?
I think the biggest benefit is very simple, and it allows everyone, to benefit from increased health and wellness. And also, if a person decides to study a different art, a different type of meditation, a different type of movement, it will give them more than a leg up, if you will. For instance, if you are studying martial arts and you're just getting introduced to martial arts, but you have a background in mastering the breath, you're going to be way more fluid in that process than you would if you didn't have this background. And if you happen to be practicing martial arts already, this will enhance your ability to move more fluidly, and just embrace whatever it is that you happen to be practicing, because it's very practical, very simple, and it aligns with the body and movement. Basically, it's an extension of biomechanics and kinesiology, if you will.
So I'll say, like, later on in my career, I was actually an MMA fighter. Later on in my career, I started using breath work and started using more meditation while training and practicing. That helped me along at the end of my career. So would you say that, so I would agree that breath work would help athletes, not just, fighters, but any type of athlete, as well as just any normal person. But would you say that your breathwork techniques is a form of meditation, or would you separate it from meditation and just it will be a good complement to somebody's meditation practice?
Well, I would venture to say that, given everyone's background on this call, even though I don't know everybody, you already know that the breath is meditation. Anytime you focus on the breath, you slow the breath, you're going to automatically go into a meditative state. And as far as biomechanics are concerned, when you inhale fully, you basically are getting more oxygen into the body, into the organs, and each of the organs, according to traditional Chinese medicine and other modalities, each organ houses the energy for a given emotion. So when you inhale fully, the diaphragm is going to press down on those organs. And then when you exhale fully, the abdomen is going to engage as part of the breathing apparatus, and it's going to massage the organs from front to back. So you get a 360 massage and squeeze of the organs that's going to actually be an emotional massage, as I term it. And also from that, you have, whenever you're breathing up here, shallow breathing, you basically staying in the fight or flight mode. So when you breathe and carry that diaphragm into the lower regions of the abdominal cavity, you are moving into the area of the lungs that I call relaxation meditation. Some others may say rest and relaxation. So without even calling it meditation, it automatically facilitates meditation. And it enhances any, I was about to say, it enhances any type of meditation that you're already doing.
Right. I think that is good that you don't necessarily label it meditation, because a lot of people shy away from meditation because they don't necessarily understand what it is. But just a simple, like you said, using your full lung capacity to breathe in and out is a form of meditation that reaps like so many benefits that people don't understand. But if they just learn to fully breathe with even the bottom half of their lungs, then they will start to be more relaxed. They won't be so anxious. They won't be so stressed out because they're using a full capacity of what, they were blessed with, what God gave them. And it does relax them. It helps them more. It helps them get out of their head more and be more conscious of what's happening inside of their body.
I'm glad you said that, and especially that last part, because as I shared with Sifu Lester, one of my mantras is that through mastering the breath, I get people into their body so they can get out of their mind and into their spirit.
Mm-hmm.
So how long would you say it took you to get to the point where you felt like you could call yourself the breath master? Because a lot of people also shy away from wanting to call themselves masters, or either people jump to assume that they're a master. But how long, because you said 1989, correct? When your mother unfortunately passed away. So how long did it take you along that journey? And I know life is still a journey, but how long did it take you before you reached that point where you felt like that you would be able to call yourself the breath master?
It's an interesting question from the standpoint that I didn't really look at the timeline. And so over time, after probably a decade or so, I mean, I developed what I call the Breath Master technique in 2007. And I immediately, or not immediately, but within 2 years, I wanted to start to share this information with others. And I went online and I was going to set up my website as breathmastery.com. Lo and behold, there was another gentleman, Dan Brule, who already had that moniker. So I couldn't do that. And, you know, so I still said that what I was teaching was breath mastery, but then later on I dropped the Y and said, you know, because the technique that I developed, I call it the Breath Master technique. So after a given point, when I decided to teach other folks and give them the title of Breath Master, I realized that I had to kind of separate myself from them. So I said, okay, I'm teaching others to become breath masters. So I am the Breath Master. So I claimed that name probably about 3-4 years ago, you know, just kind of organically through the process, not with any real intention, but just a realization organically.
I have a question. You talk about your technique and the movements. Are there particular movements or postures that are more beneficial with the breathing than others? Or is it just like a form?
Basically, we move in alignment to the natural flow. Okay, so there are three, I keep everything real simple. And so we basically are in 3 body postures, you know, and then there are various forms of that. Where throughout the course of the day, we start our day out, we're lying in bed, right? Then we, you know, before we even stand up, we sit on the side of the bed, you know, and then we, you know, we go to work, we're sitting in chairs and so on. Everybody here is sitting right now. That's one of the body postures. Then there's standing, and standing also includes walking and moving, you know, moving around and so on, including running as well. So and all of those things we're moving. So in every movement, if you slow the movement down and you activate the breath, because looking at the biomechanics, anytime you're inhaling, you're expanding, the lungs are expanding. So any type of opening and expanding movement, you inhale. Then any type of contractive and or compressive movement, you exhale. And that basically is how you wind up being able to align the breath with movement. For instance, I have a movement that I call get-ups. And basically it's getting up out of a chair, sitting down in the chair. And any movement that you do repetitively, you basically can do an exercise. So if you sit down and get up 1,000 times and you apply the breath with that movement, you're going to get massive benefit from just sitting up, getting up out of the chair and sitting down. As effective, I would venture to say, as doing 1,000 sit-ups.
Aaron, I have a question.
Yes, sir.
I had, and I can't quote the source on it right now, but I had read that on a normal breathing cycle to a person who's not trained in breath work, that they only exchange about 10% of the air in their lungs. And so anything beyond that has got to be an improvement, I would think. And if you get close to 100% exchange, it's got to be tremendously great in value.
Yes, sir. I don't know about the percentage, but I do know that there are people who are doing 10% or less. And a lot of times you sitting beside these people and you hear them going, you know, they're not getting any, you know, the full use of their lungs, because they're barely even getting into the throat let alone into the chest cavity, and definitely not into the abdominal cavity. So when you move from that to fully expanding, I mean, for instance, I've had people, and I mean, there's so much going on biomechanically that changes when you take a full breath and when you actually engage the Breath Master technique. I've had people who stop snoring within 3 days. And, you know, snoring leads to sleep apnea.
Mhm.
So the thing is, it depends on how consistent you apply. You already know any given technique as far as how effective it's going to be in a long or short term. So if a person is consistent with it, you can get over sleep apnea probably within a couple of weeks, because snoring leads to sleep apnea. So if you are able to reverse snoring within 3 days, if you are assertive and consistent with this practice, you probably can get rid of sleep apnea within a matter of weeks.
Well, I would expect that, as well as increasing the oxygen content per breath, you also increase your exchange of unwanted byproducts also.
Mhm, mhm. Well, let me just explain the technique so we can get a clear picture. The first thing that I learned that really caught my eye and stimulated my thought process was the cleansing breath. In the process of teaching us various movement and teaching us how to link the breath to movement. And let me also say that my instructor was Master Yasir Ra Hotep of the Yoga Skills Comedics Yoga School. And in teaching that cleansing breath, he explained that a person who may have smoked for 10, 20 years and stopped 5, 10, 15 years ago, using the cleansing breath, they wind up exhaling nicotine, tar, or whatever debris that may have settled in the lower recesses of the lung and has been sitting there for all of that time. And in my training of some of the people I've trained, one young lady in particular, she was doing the Breath Master technique, and she got to the point where she was doing it for like 30 minutes straight. And she said that she started tasting grapes, and she was wondering why she was tasting grapes. But after I explained that to her, she said, now I know. She said, because 3 years ago, I used to smoke hookah, and I smoked grape flavored tobacco. So she had stuff in her lungs from 3 years back that came up and was coming out during the Breath Master technique. Now, the technique engages two things that most of you are probably familiar with. One is the Taoist practice called tongue placement. And I later learned that's also called the Kujari Mudra, where you place the tip of the tongue to the roof of the mouth and you curl it back and you maintain contact with the roof of the mouth. That also creates, that connection creates a circuit also. And you inhale slowly through the nostrils because the mouth is closed. And over time, you'll be able to audibly hear the sound of the breath. Now, Zoom has this sound dampening software that I learned the hard way. And when I was teaching and folks couldn't hear me on the inhalation. So I'll do the inhalation, but more than likely you won't hear me. But if you were to do an inhalation and put your fingers in your ears, you should be able to audibly hear the sound of your own breath. And it's pretty much that. It's kind of like the sound of putting a seashell to your ear, that oceanic sound that you hear. And then the exhalation is done with the mouth open, the jaw unhinges, mouth is to a full oval, and you make a sound doing what I like to keep things simple. So I gave folks the exercise of fogging the mirror, as I call it, where you just exhale. You're really trying to fog that mirror as much as possible. So that sound of the letter H in front of the A actually engages the abdominal muscles in a way that likening to when you were in elementary school and they told you, use your lips to make the sound B, use your teeth and your tongue to make the sound the. You actually use your abdominal muscles to make the sound. And so when you exhale nice and slowly for an extended period of time, you're going to bring that diaphragm up further and further, and it's going to squeeze out stuff that's down in the lower recesses of the lungs. And it's going to affect a cleansing of the lungs more dynamically than any other thing that you can do. And therefore, they call it the cleansing breath. Now, what I learned later on as I was doing my breath work, because what the brother who taught me the tongue placement, his name is Wayne Chandler, and he's a Taoist practitioner, Kung Fu master, and a bunch of other stuff, also PhD and so on. And he said that when he was being trained by his master, that one of the students asked the master, how often should he keep his tongue to the roof of the mouth? And the master said to him, I keep my tongue there anytime I'm not eating, drinking, talking, or sleeping. So basically all the time. So in my adapting and aligning with that, I was keeping my tongue to the roof of my mouth all the time. And then when I wound up in some of my practices doing the cleansing breath, I was alternating from putting my tongue up to the roof of my mouth and then doing the cleansing breath. And what I found is that the curling of the tongue, because the tongue, the back of the tongue is attached to the top of the trachea. It actually opens the trachea up for more oxygen, more open space for oxygen to get in. So that in turn allows you to get more oxygen in. So as the cleansing breath allows you to exhale more from the recesses of the lung, more carbon dioxide and sediment, the inhalation is enhanced by curling the tongue and maintaining contact with the roof of the mouth. So after a while, I was like, you know what? This is allowing me to master the breathing process and to increase my flow and my movement more dynamically, and to even extend it to the point where sometimes I would really slow the breath, and instead of doing one movement 5 to 10 times, I would wind up doing it 3 to 4 times and have even, in my opinion, more effectiveness. Because also when you slow the movement down, and you're engaging muscle, you're actually isolating tension in the muscle. So you have isotoning and isometric tension happening in the muscles that really strengthens the muscles in a different way than continuous movement, repetitive movements at a faster pace.
A person starting in your technique today, what's the timing approximately to, get to 80, 90% effectiveness?
Instantly.
Instantly?
Depending upon the individual. Now, there are some people who, for the life of them, can't make a sound when they're breathing. And they are very, 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 very rare individuals. I had a gentleman who wanted to learn from me, and I told him the first thing you got to do is you got to be able to make a sound when you breathe. This is something that I realized, but I hadn't encountered anyone who literally could not do that. And this gentleman, for the life of him, on inhalation, he could not make a sound. On exhalation, he could not make a sound. He had so much constriction in his body and mainly in his mind. He's very intellectual, got a lot of intellect, but when it came to basic practical application of, movement and his breath to his body, he just couldn't do it. It wasn't in his spirit, So I told him, I said, I'm sorry, I can't teach you because I can't put more into you than you can contain. I will not teach someone lesson 4 and 5 if they haven't gotten lesson 1 and 2 or 3. So, but it's such a simple technique. So what I would like to do is give you the opportunity right now. So everyone, flow with me. Place the tip of the tongue to the roof of the mouth. Mouth is closed, curl it back nice and gentle. Everything is gentle, jaws nice and light. Inhale through the nostrils, nice and slow, filling the abdomen up first and then allowing the chest to expand out. Once your lungs are full, not to the point of bursting, just full, release the tongue from the top of the mouth, drop it to the bottom palate, open the jaw, full oval, and exhale with a. Relax the jaw. Curl it back once again, mouth closed, inhale through the nostrils, nice and light. Release the tongue, drop the jaw, exhale with a. softly. So feel the abdomen tightening. Once again, curl the tongue back, nice and soft. Inhale through the nostrils, allowing the abdomen to expand. In the chest. Your lungs full. Release the tongue, drop the jaw, nice and softly. So soft that you practically feel the air wafting just beneath the nose. Anyone care to share what they just experienced and how they're feeling in their body?
Quite a calming effect.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's like a more relaxation for me. Like you feel the tension kind of leaving your body.
Mhm.
And the thing about that is sometimes we don't even know that we're holding the tension until you do a technique like that and you feel yourself releasing the tension from like your shoulders and your neck and maybe even your abdomen.
Yeah, and it's a progression. So like the first breath, you're going to exhale so much. And once you exhale, you're basically creating more space because the more you empty a vessel, the more room you have to fill a vessel. It's like if you got a glass that's half full, you can only fill it from that point. But then you turn around and you pour out 3/4 of that, and then you can fill it from the 3/4 mark. Then if you empty it totally, then you can fill it from the bottom up. The lungs are containers, so the more you empty them, the more space you have to fill them. So it's a progression that happens when you continue the breath. And if you do it, say for 5, 10, 15, 20, 30 minutes, you're going to really experience the fullness of the lungs. And even if you are struggling in the beginning, as Dan asked, you're going to be able to get to that 80, 90% within probably a 5-minute time frame. And then you're just going to continue to ride that wave on after that.
So how long is your program? Because if you teach somebody, this practice, how much more is there for them to learn within your program after learning this first technique?
You know what? When I first started, I was kind of like, wow, there's so much richness with just that one technique that if a person takes that and they don't do anything else, they will be able to grow in such a dynamic way that they really won't necessarily, quote unquote, need me, which is something that I really, really admire about this process and the whole simplicity of it. But beyond that, there's so much voluminous knowledge and information and awareness that we gain in our own body from doing simple techniques and simple applications that it's expansive. So there's 3 different levels that I teach as far as the Breath Master certification is concerned. The first level is for a person's own edification and their own fullness of life, because you have people who have asthma, different forms of COPD, different types of constrictions mentally and spiritually that, is alleviated when they change their breathing pattern. So that's a 30-day process. However, the caveat is this: I respect everyone and where they are, and I don't believe in pushing a person faster than their body and their mind will carry them. And so it's a self-paced scenario. So even if a person pays in full and they take, they may go for a couple of sessions and then they decide, they need to take a break. I respect that, and they can come back. If a person pays partially, they can continue on later on and continue with their payment. And then there's level 2 is for those who actually want to become instructors. So level 1, you get a level 1 Breath Master certification. Level 2, you get a Breath Master instructor certification. And the instructor is someone who, just like the yoga instructor, you'll be able to hold classes. You can have workshops and seminars and what have you around the breath work that I teach, and go into the corporate setting or wherever it takes you. And then level 3 is a mentorship scenario that lasts, depending upon the individual and the pace that they're moving. Someone with a well-grounded background in Tai Chi, like some of you guys, it probably won't take as long, but that's at least 6 months. And with that, I will basically walk with that individual and guide them through the teaching process, as well as some more expansive learning in the way of just general body mechanics and movement, and how these things can enhance the flow of life for anybody that they may encounter, and also enhance whatever practices that they're doing as well. And at that point, you will be able to certify others in the level 1 and 2 area of the Breath Master certification. Oh, I didn't mention level 2 is 60 days, depending upon the individual's, personal timeline, if you will. So 30 days, 60 days, 6 months to a year, and everything is malleable depending upon the individual's movement.
Aaron, how does somebody get started?
Just let me know when they're ready, and we just go ahead and get started. Make your first payment. We do an orientation. The orientation is a 2-hour process, and 30 minutes of that is basically going over, the administrative side, and the next 90 minutes is a training session. So the first session involves orientation and your first set of skills, and then after that, I like to use. I'm a stickler for terminology. So we always say weeks, weeks, weeks. I'm teaching people to be strong, so I don't want to teach them not 1 week at all. So the first strong is orientation. The second strong, we go into first strong, we learn the different things about how to actually create breath work. And this is something that also allows people to become creatives. And that's what I'm looking for also, because this is how I got moving with the things that I was taught. So a person would get to know the 3 basic ways of creating breath work, which is changing the depth, the rhythm, and the pacing. And then the second strong, you will learn how to adapt the breath to the 3 body postures. And the third strong, the person would learn sound vibration, using the breath and being able to affect movement internally, kind of like some internal kung fu. And then the final session would be more esoteric, where I teach a couple of practices that attune the body in a more dynamic way. I'll put it like that. So just let me know when they're ready, make their first payment, and we get started. If there's a group session, that would be great. If there's an individual, then we can go ahead and hit the ground running according to everybody's, we can align up our schedule. And I like to be consistent as far as the meeting date and time. Sometimes, there may be an adjustment because life comes up, but in general, if a person wants to do Monday morning at 9 o'clock, then we would have 5 sessions, actually 4 sessions, Monday morning, 9 o'clock. And the 5th session would be kind of a closeout, where we do, some additional admin stuff, not that much, and basically some proofing, if you will, to make sure that they really got what it is that they came for and are moving forward. And everybody is different, so some get more depending upon what they come with, and depending upon their movement, during the process.
So would you want to share your contact information with us so that people can have that?
Sure. My website is breathmastera.com, just like it sounds. Breathmaster, the letter A, as in Aaron.com. And then on social media, YouTube, Breath Master Aaron Mottley. On Facebook, Breath Master Aaron Mottley. On Instagram, Breath Master A, at Breath Master A, and the same thing for Twitter. I have a Patreon, but I have to look at the link because I just started working with that.
Dan, your mic is muted.
I'm sorry, Aaron. For anybody that's watching this video, would you spell your last name also for them?
Oh, Mottley, Mottley. Thank you for that. So it's Mottley.
All right. Well, thank you for being here today. I think that about wraps it up, huh? Anybody have any more questions they want to share? Are we good?
I think you said everything.
I know some of my answers were kind of long-winded, but I just wanted to be as clear as possible and make sure I gave a full explanation. And if I was excessive, I apologize.
No problem. No, it's perfect. Before you leave, I want to give you a big thank you. I'm down to my last piece of sugar cane here. So Belle Glaze, there's nothing in Belle Glaze but sugar cane.
Actually, there's a lot more, but it's about 90% of everything. Look, I brought back 112 pounds of sugar cane from that little space in my dad's backyard. My brother was like, take all you want. And matter of fact, you want to take it all. I left 11 stalks that were green and not ready to cut. But everything else, I loaded it up. And man, I've been chewing.
Thank you a lot, man. Appreciate you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing your time with us. And I've already made the choice myself. So I'm definitely on board for your next session. So look forward to learning from you. Thank you very much.
You're quite welcome. And thank you guys for having me. I appreciate this opportunity to share.
Thank you.
Hey, thank you.
Okay.
I'd like to apologize for the horrible introduction, but we got through it.
Hey, if I get introduced anywhere, there's nothing horrible about that.
Well, I called out the other organization that we have on Tai Chi 360. I'm like, gee.
Oh, yeah.
That's okay. I can edit it out.
Yeah.
Oh man, you guys. Oh, it is awesome when you have a team and you have different folks taking up the baton for different things. Because as an entrepreneur, wearing 300 hats, man.
Yeah.
Beast. So that's good that you guys are actually working together. Kudos to everyone.
Yeah, so I wanted to let you know what everybody does. Obviously, I'm Tai Chi. Sister Pam is doing Tai Chi, Qigong, and Brother Dan is doing the same thing. He got some karate background. And Aaron does meditation, and he's also a life coach. So ex MMA fighter. So this is the family. This is our CCH family. We'd like to have you back.
Hey, just let me know when, and I'll be there, barring any unforeseen circumstance. You know, I'm available.
Yeah, maybe we'll have you back once we start the course, and we can talk about our progress and how things are going along, and share that with the community.
Oh, that would be great. That would be great.
Yeah.
Well, the thing I've learned. Go ahead.
I was going to say, if you don't mind, we're going to share this video on Facebook, our Facebook page, and no, I don't know. Our website isn't launched yet, but you know, we're gonna put it around and in YouTube.
No. No, that would be awesome. I appreciate that, you know, because the thing about, I'm not big on quote unquote self-promotion. I'm very humble, and which is how I kind of developed all these things, because, you know, I started life as an introvert. So self-study and just analysis and paying attention to the nth degree of every little thing around me, rather than talking so much about myself and what I do. So I appreciate this opportunity to be shared with the world through you guys.
Sure.
Thank you so much for that.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
Well, Sister Pam, I know you had another engagement that you have to make it to.
Yeah, I do, but you know, I can stay on for another 10 minutes.
Okay.
You guys want to talk, or?
You got anything we need to discuss with our brother Aaron, Breath Master here? And he leave now or what? I think we're done with questioning him, right? We don't need.
Yeah, we're done with questioning him.
All right.
Okay.
All right, brother. We'll see
Get
you.
off the
We'll catch you
witness
around the
stand.
corner. What's that?
I said, I can get off the witness stand now.
I
'Cause the way you
hope it
said
didn't feel like that.
the way you said that, we're done questioning him, you know.
Interrogation is over.
Yeah. But it's definitely been a pleasure, and you know, I like the questions. And one thing I really love during the class, and you know, whoever comes on, if any of you guys, along with Seafood, comes on, please feel free to ask questions along the way, because what I learned when I sit in the teacher's chair is that if someone asks me something I don't know, I get a download. It's like this cosmic something that just puts the information right here, and it just comes out of my mouth, to the point where sometimes after I answer a question, I'm like, I need to write that down because I didn't know that. You know. So you know, and that's also why I think everybody should actually have the opportunity to sit in the teacher's chair, so that they can learn from the universe. I think we get Akashic downloads when we're in that space. So
Mhm.
I agree with that.
yeah, thank you so much again.
You're welcome.
Back at you, my brother.
All right, peace.
Have a great evening.
All right, you all do the same. I'm out. Peace.
All right.
Thanks,
Yeah.
Aaron.
Okay.
All right. Excellent. That was good questions. Good exchange there. That was awesome.
I
Yeah,
had
I think-
another question on there, but he answered it for me when he was talking about the woman, you know, tasting the grapes. And I was I was going to ask about people that have breathing issues, like, you know, COPD or asthma or whatever. You know, how does that affect? How does his techniques affect them?
Yeah, that was a good one too.
You know, since it's almost a year now that I've been working with the morning meditations sessions in the breathing, and I haven't had a sinus infection since then. I don't know if there's background for that or not, but you know, possibly just breathing fully, maybe that helps a lot. So
Yeah, that's true.
and I know people that will have problems twice a year, almost on clock.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they call it seasonal. So true.
Well, I think that was fantastic. Thank you very much for setting that up.
Yeah, that was good.
Oh, that was awesome, man. I liked it. It was awesome. And we'll have the contortionist guy. We'll get that arranged after Pam gets her stuff taken care of. We'll get him.
Yeah, next Tuesday, you know, this is open. You guys can just come on and talk, but I don't know if I'll be done with surgery or out of surgery, in surgery. I have no idea.
Yeah.
You know, last time I had it done, it was, you know, I was there early in the morning and was late when they did it. So I don't know.
So they haven't said anything about not having the surgery because of COVID?
Not yet. No.
Good.
No, going through all the pre-testing and all that stuff last week, this week, doctor's appointments, ridiculous.
Pre-op after pre-op after pre-op.
Yeah. But, you know, after that, you know, I'll be able to come on just sitting and talking.
That's good. We'll be glad to have you.
Yeah. Yeah, but next Tuesday, it's on you guys.
All right. So we're
All
going
right.
It's the same, and it's the same link, you know, it's the same link every week.
Gotcha.
Same link every week.
Sounds good.
I think you were, had stepped away, but I told Aaron and Dan that I bought a green screen.
Ah, cool.
I gotta finish my video, because I, you know, going through it, there was some that I have to do over because I was off screen or didn't like the way it looked or whatever. But I have a nice background and I have this green screen, so hopefully it'll set up right.
Yeah.
I don't know. And I bought a light.
Professional.
I'm gonna look like I'm in a studio here.
Excited to see it. All right, family.
Okay,
Thank you very much. See you later.
thank
All right,
you.
guys.
Hey, Grand Rise with me.
Candy says goodbye and dog says goodbye.
Later.
Good evening to all.
Okay, bye-bye.